So now recently there's been a lot of drama in the White House concerning John Kelly, Ivanka Trump, and Jared Kushner. And Jared Kushner has not been having a very good week. He just recently lost his security clearance. He got downgraded, which is very, very embarrassing. He's had a lot of scandal recently involving him, and of course involved with the Russian investigation. So, as I said, Jared Kushner not exactly the most popular person in the White House right now. And so, look, there's a lot of dysfunction going on. And I'm sure you guys already know this, but I'm going to get into some of the details according to sources inside of the White House. Apparently, Mr. Trump is isolated and angry. And there are other reports saying that that actually fed into what he did with tariffs. He was pissed off and he wanted to lash out at something. So here we go. Let's put some tariffs on. Wonderful. Without even knowing what the effect of the economy is actually going to be. And there's a lot of experts that are like, no, don't put on these tariffs. It's going to actually make American goods more expensive. It's going to make it more expensive for people to import goods into America. So you're going to hurt consumers. You're going to hurt the economy at large by putting in some of these tariffs. Well, Donald Trump didn't care. He just wanted to lash out at somebody. So now, according to friends and aides, he is isolated and he is angry as he continues to carry on a bitter feud with his attorney general and watch his members of his family clash with the chief of staff he recruited to restore a semblance of order. Now, this is from the New York Times. This is Maggie Haberman, who's reporting on this. Again, she's talking to insiders into the White House. And she says that, well, without Mr. Porter, that's Rob Porter, playing a stopgap role on trade, the debate has been marked by a lack of focus on policy and planning. And that's why you saw just a rollout of tariffs that are supposed to be protective tariffs. But again, they don't always work. They will have some sort of effect. This is tariffs on both steel and aluminum, which again is likely going to impact consumers at this point. And look, I understand. I understand why you would want to do forms of protectionism in order to spur manufacturing at home. But you would want to make sure that there is a manufacturing base at home that would be able to pick up the slack. In this point in time, we don't have that manufacturing capability set up. Most of our factories are now overseas. We get most of our steel from other countries and most of our aluminum from other countries. So again, you're going to have an impact on the economy and on the consumer, which is likely not going to be very good. So that's why I'm against what he's recently done. Now, back into the White House. Well, it turns out all this stuff and all the scandals and all the infighting has deeply impacted morale. They said, quote, morale in the West Wing has sunk to a new low. In private conversations, Mr. Trump lashes out regularly at Attorney General Jeff Sessions with a vitriol that stuns members of his staff. Now, these people inside the White House are saying, hey, man, look, morale in the West Wing, really, really low. We are not happy here. In fact, we haven't been happy for a long time. Everything's going absolutely crazy. Did you see what happened with Jeff Sessions? Do you see what's happening? And so, in fact, a recent tweet from Trump, he said, why is AG Sessions asking the Inspector General to investigate potentially massive FISA abuse? Will take forever, has no prosecutorial power, and already late with reports on Comey, etc. Isn't the IG an Obama guy? Why not use Justice Department lawyers? Disgraceful. Well, wait a minute. You're basically, like, Jeff Sessions is doing the political hit job that you told him to. He's investigating all this stuff, right, that you told him to investigate in order to go after the FBI. And now you're saying, oh, why did you use the Inspector General? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Look, Jeff Sessions is doing his job. I don't like anything Jeff Sessions does, but he is actually doing the proper procedure. And here's Donald Trump saying, disgraceful, disgraceful. But look, it's not about this, right? No. According to some longtime advisors, they said that Mr. Trump regards Mr. Sessions' decision to recuse himself from the Russia investigation as the, quote, original sin, which the president thinks left him exposed. Exposed to what? If you haven't done anything, then what's there to worry about? That's my question. Why get so upset over an investigation that you know personally isn't going to lead anywhere and is just a witch hunt? Again, his reactions to things make me think that there's actually something more to this. That there might actually be something to this Russia investigation into him. Again, I don't have any proof of that. I admit that I don't have any proof of that. You know who's got the proof of that? If there is any, it would be Robert Mueller. Anyway. Now, Sessions, of course, fired back on this, and he said, quote, "As long as I'm the Attorney General, I will continue to discharge my duties with integrity and honor. And this department will continue to do its work in a fair and impartial manner." I don't know why I'm using that accent. "According to the law and Constitution." Okay, again, he's doing his job. He's doing the way that he's doing this I guess, hatchet job investigation, this hack investigation, the way that he's actually supposed to do it. Because if you're going to do an investigation, at least you're going to do it like you got to follow the law in doing these investigations, and that's what he's doing. And he's getting yelled at by Trump because Trump, look, he's angry. He wants to lash out at things. Now, more drama, and this involves, of course, John Kelly versus Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. Now, Mr. Trump's children, Haberman writes, meanwhile, have grown exasperated with Mr. Kelly, seeing him as a hurdle to their father's success and as antagonistic to their continued presence, according to several people familiar with their thinking. Anthony Scaramucci, an ally of some in the Trump family, whom Mr. Kelly fired as communications director after only 11 days, that's got to be a record, intensified his criticism of the chief of staff in a series of news interviews on Wednesday and Thursday. Yet Mr. Trump is also frustrated with Mr. Kushner. Oh, see, that's interesting, because now it's not just John Kelly versus Ivanka and Kushner. Now Donald Trump is beginning to take sides. Uh-oh. He said Mr. Trump is also frustrated with Kushner, whom he now views as a liability because of his legal entanglements. The investigations of the Kushner family's real estate company and the publicity over having his security clearance downgraded, according to two people familiar with his views, according to two people familiar with Trump's views. So Trump is getting very frustrated with Mr. Kushner because he's drawing too much attention to himself. I mean, God forbid you steal any sort of attention from Donald Trump, but his blundering. And I'm talking about Jared Kushner here because Jared Kushner is basically a mini Donald Trump. He's not very smart, and he tends to get himself into a lot of trouble. That's what Kushner is doing. And again, he's got ties with, and I've got a story later on where he sought money from the country of Qatar. Now, look, you try to get loans from Qatar. That's again not necessarily shady when you're doing an investment business, when you're doing real estate. But what he did afterwards is actually push back against Rex Tillerson and ensure a blockade of Qatar. Oh, great. But again, that's another story. And of course, his real estate holdings are in big trouble, which is a giant threat to the Kushner family fortune. So that's more embarrassment, because to Donald Trump, if you are not wealthy, you are a loser. You are sad. Baby. All right. Now, in private conversations, the president vacillates between sounding regretful that Mr. Kushner is taking arrows and annoyed that he is another problem to deal with. Privately, some aides have expressed frustration that Mr. Kushner and his wife, the president's daughter Ivanka Trump, have remained at the White House despite Mr. Trump at times saying that they never should have come to the White House and should leave. Yet aides also noted that Mr. Trump has told the couple that they should keep serving in their roles, even as he has asked privately Mr. Kelly for his help in moving them out. Fascinating. So what this tells me, and you're like, wait a minute, is Trump supporting Ivanka and Jared, or is he supporting John Kelly? I don't know. See, this is classic Trump. There's too much ambiguity. He cannot make a decision. 1 minute he's like, God damn it, Jared Kushner, what are you doing getting in trouble? And then on the other hand, it's like, Jared Kushner, why is the media attacking you so much? Poor guy. And Ivanka, I want you to stay here because you're just a wonderful advisor to me. John Kelly, get him out of here. Get him out. This is a guy who can't make up his mind. Insanity. This is utter insanity that's going on in the White House. Now, let me tell you, or ask you guys, who do you think is going to go first? John Kelly or Ivanka and Jared? Again, John Kelly has not exactly been endearing himself to the president. He has been, of course, critical of both Jared and Ivanka, which actually does, I guess, play into the president's decision of, or possible decision of, maybe we should get rid of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. But then also, he recently said, well, let me show you the video here. He recently said this.
Truly, at 6 months, the last thing I wanted to do was walk away from one of the great honors of my life, being the Secretary of Homeland Security. But I did something wrong, and God punished me, I guess.
God punished me. God punished me putting me as chief of staff of the Trump administration. Look, is it a joke? Will Donald Trump take it as a joke? I have no idea. But again, there's been a lot of talk of John Kelly leaving. And after the Rob Porter scandal, of course, you had a lot of that speculation inside the White House. So, look, I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know what will happen if John Kelly is gone. Utter chaos. Again, Kelly, his one positive role is to make sure that crazy people didn't hand Donald Trump just basically anything, some weird right-wing blog. No, they actually made sure that he had facts on his desk. Without John Kelly trying to keep order, here come the clowns, and they're back in. So, again, where Trump is going to land on whether to keep John Kelly because Ivanka and Jared have the knives out for him, or eliminate Ivanka and Jared, we don't know. We don't know where he's going to land. But it's going to serve to be very, very interesting as time moves on. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.